Stop making excuses. Seriously. We have spent the last 5 years listening to the same arguments against electric vehicles. They're too expensive. They take too long to charge. They have no soul. I don't want to download 15 different apps just to drive to grandma's house. And for a long time, you were right. The early adopters paid the beta tester tax, dealing with clunky software and charging networks that worked about as often as an ice cream machine at a fast food joint. But 2026 is different. This is the year the beta test ends. This is the year the excuses run out. We are looking at a market that has completely flipped on its head. Today, we are breaking down the 5 best compact electric SUVs of 2026. We have to start with the car that forced everyone else to step up their game. When the Hyundai Ioniq 5 first launched, it didn't just look like a new car. It looked like a prop from a sci-fi movie that accidentally rolled onto a dealership lot. It set the bar for everyone else, and for 2026, it remains the absolute benchmark for compact electric SUVs. Here is the biggest news: value. Hyundai has aggressively gone after market share this year. They have slashed prices across the entire lineup, with some trims dropping by nearly $9,000 compared to last year. You can now get into an SE standard range for around $36,600. Think about that for a second. That is standard gas crossover money for a vehicle that feels decades ahead of a RAV4 or a CR-V. Even if you go for the fully loaded limited all-wheel drive model, you are looking at just over $50,000. In a world where the average new car transaction price is skyrocketing, Hyundai is bringing sanity back to the sticker price. Underneath that retro futuristic metal, the Ioniq 5 is still riding on Hyundai's advanced eGMP 800-volt platform. Why does 800 volts matter? Because of time. While other EVs are stuck sipping electricity, the Ioniq 5 chugs it. You are looking at a 10 to 80% charge in just 18 minutes using a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger. That is barely enough time to run into the gas station, use the restroom, and grab a coffee. It remains one of the fastest recharge times in the entire segment, making road trips genuinely viable. You have 2 battery options this year, a 63 kilowatt hour pack or the larger 84 kilowatt hour pack. If you want maximum efficiency, the single motor rear wheel drive model makes 225 horsepower and reaches up to 303 miles of range. That is the sweet spot for most commuters. But if you want a little more punch, the dual motor all-wheel drive setup boosts power to 320 horsepower and a healthy 446 pound-feet of torque. That is good for a 0 to 60 run in about 4.5 seconds. It's not just fast for an SUV, that is legitimate sports car territory. Inside, the cabin still feels refreshingly different. It doesn't feel like a cockpit, it feels like a minimalist lounge. You get dual 12.3-inch displays that look crisp and modern, an available heads-up display, and eco-friendly materials throughout. The sliding center console is a stroke of genius, allowing you to slide it back to give the front passengers more floor space or pass bags to the rear seats. It makes the car feel open, airy, and relaxing. For 2026, Hyundai fixed the few complaints people had. They finally added a heat pump system across the board for better cold weather performance, huge for anyone living in the north. And critically, they have begun integrating the NACS charging port. This unlocks future access to Tesla's Supercharger network, meaning you never have to worry about finding a working Electrify America station again. And if you like the Ioniq 5 but crave a little more excitement, you have to look at the Ioniq 5 Newtons. This is Hyundai's first all-electric performance SUV, and it is absolutely unhinged. It packs a wild 641 horsepower in boost mode and hits 60 miles per hour in just 3.2 to 5 seconds. But the coolest trick? It simulates gear shifts with artificial N-E-shift feedback and pumps in synthetic engine sounds. It sounds gimmicky, but it creates a surprisingly visceral experience that makes enthusiast drivers grin. It proves that an EV can be track capable and daily drivable at the same time. Next up is a car that represents a massive shift in the automotive landscape. For years, Toyota, the world's biggest automaker, played it safe. They bet the farm on hybrids and kind of ignored the full EV revolution. But with the 2026 CHR, the sleeping giant has finally woken up. This is Toyota's long-awaited leap into the fully electric world, and it is one of the most interesting newcomers to the compact scene. The new CHR isn't a converted gas car. It is built on Toyota's dedicated eTNGA electric platform, which it shares with upcoming electric vehicles from Subaru and Lexus. This is a big moment. After the lackluster launch of the BZ4X, Toyota needed a win, and this little crossover proves they aren't messing around anymore. It is designed to feel familiar yet futuristic, exactly what you'd expect from a brand that built its reputation on not frightening its customers. Do not let the Toyota badge fool you. This thing has serious hustle. Power comes from a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup, making a combined 338 horsepower. To put that in perspective, that is more punch than a V6 Camry. It gives the CHR more power than most people will ever need in a city-sized SUV. Energy comes from a 74.7 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, delivering an estimated 290 miles of range. Is it the 300 plus miles we see in the Hyundai? No, but it is one of the longest range electric Toyotas to date, and for 99% of daily driving, it is plenty. Toyota knows that range anxiety is the #1 reason their loyal customers haven't switched to EVs yet. So, for 2026, they confirmed they will use the NACS charging port. This gives CHR owners access to Tesla's Supercharger network right out of the box. That is a huge deal. It turns the biggest weakness of non-Tesla EVs, the charging infrastructure, into a non-issue. As for speed, expect 10 to 80% charging in roughly 30 minutes on a DC fast charger. It puts it right in line with the segment average, not groundbreaking like the Hyundai, but reliable. Inside, the cabin mirrors Toyota's latest design direction. Tech-forward, driver-focused, and surprisingly premium. A large touchscreen infotainment system anchors the dash, flanked by digital gauges and sleek ambient lighting. The materials are sustainably sourced, and because it is a dedicated EV platform, there's actually more usable cargo space than the outgoing gas model. This is Toyota's first dedicated compact EV SUV in North America. It is sportier than the BZ4X, more efficient, and arguably much better looking. With a starting price likely around $34,000, the CHR stands out as the most balanced blend of performance, practicality, and that legendary brand reliability. It is a truly modern Toyota for the EV era. Now, let's move over to the premium side of the lineup. If the Toyota is the sensible choice, the 2026 Volvo EX30 is the emotional one. This car is proof that you don't need a massive SUV or a massive budget to enjoy Scandinavian luxury. Volvo calls it their smallest SUV ever, but there is absolutely nothing small about the performance it delivers. This car is built on the new SEA platform shared with Polestar, which means it is engineered from the ground up to be quick, efficient, and rock solid on the road. You have two main flavors here. The single-motor extended range version makes 268 horsepower and sends it all to the rear wheels. That version delivers an EPA-estimated 261 miles of range. But the one you want, the one that makes this car a legend, is the twin-motor performance model. You are looking at 422 horsepower. In a car that is barely 14 feet long, that power results in a blistering 0 to 60 time of 3.4 seconds. That makes it the quickest Volvo ever built. Faster than their old Polestar wagons, faster than their sedans. It is a sleeper. You sacrifice a tiny bit of range, it dips to about 253 miles, but that is a fair trade for sports car acceleration. When you aren't drag racing sports cars, the EX30 is easy to live with. DC fast charging tops out at 153 kilowatts, bringing the battery from 10 to 80% in just under 30 minutes. And yes, like the others, it supports the NACS plug for supercharger access. Stepping inside the EX30 is like walking into a high-end Scandinavian apartment. It is minimalist, warm, and perfectly functional. But it is also where Volvo took some risks. There is no traditional instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. Instead, there is a single, large central touchscreen running Google built-in that controls everything. They also remove the speakers from the doors to create more storage space. Instead, you get a massive soundbar-style speaker system integrated across the dashboard. It looks cool, and it sounds great. The interior materials are a major talking point too. They are using recycled denim, flax, and even old fishing nets to create the upholstery. It feels premium, but not in a leather and wood kind of way. It feels modern and not pretentious. Starting at around $40,000, the EX30 undercuts many other premium electric crossovers. Among this year's best, it stands out as the most luxurious, quickest, and most design-focused of them all. It is proof that good things really do come in small Swedish packages. Next, we have the EV that brought a little muscle car energy into the compact SUV world, the 2026 Ford Mustang Mach-E. When this car first launched, purists lost their minds. They hated the idea of a Mustang badge on a quiet electric SUV. But fast forward a few years, and this thing has carved out its own identity. It is quick, stylish, practical, and still one of the most emotionally engaging electric crossovers you can buy. For 2026, Ford kept what worked and fixed what didn't. They're offering more range, faster charging, and an upgraded interior that finally feels premium enough to match its price tag. Pricing starts at around $44,795 for the Select trim and climbs to around $61,000 for the top-tier GT Performance Edition. The base version comes with a 72 kilowatt-hour battery and a single motor, making 264 horsepower, good for about 250 miles of range. That is decent, but the sweet spot is the extended range battery. Step up to the 91 kilowatt-hour pack, and your range jumps to roughly 320 miles in rear-wheel drive form. That is the number that makes range anxiety disappear. But if you want to have fun, you add the dual motor setup. You get 480 horsepower and a massive 634 pound-feet of torque. That is enough to launch the Mach-E GT from 0 to 60 in as little as 3.5 seconds, matching the acceleration of some serious gas-powered sports cars. It squats, it grips, and it goes. One of the best things about the Mach-E is that it doesn't feel like a sterile appliance. It has character, and it has the best frunk in the business. While other EVs give you a tiny slot for a charging cable, Ford gives you a massive, washable, drainable bin. It is perfect for tossing in muddy hiking gear or, and this is the best part, icing down a few drinks after a long drive. Basically, it is the only EV in this class that doubles as its own portable cooler. Ford clearly knew its audience. Charging performance has improved too. The Mach-E now supports up to 150 kilowatts of DC fast charging, bringing the battery from 10 to 80% in about 32 minutes. And thanks to Ford adopting the NACS plug, owners will soon have access to Tesla's massive Supercharger network, a huge upgrade in long-distance usability. Inside, the Mach-E feels high-tech but familiar. The massive 15.5-inch vertical touchscreen runs Ford's latest Sync system, which is now smoother and quicker to respond. The cabin is roomy, visibility is great, and it stands out as the most performance-oriented and character-driven option in this year's lineup. It bridges practicality with passion, proving that going electric doesn't mean giving up on excitement. And finally, we wrap it up with the one that still sets the pace for everyone else, the 2026 Tesla Model Y. It is the reigning champ of compact electric SUVs, the EV everyone else keeps trying to catch. It isn't the newest, the flashiest, or even the cheapest anymore, but in 2026, it remains the one to beat. Tesla didn't reinvent the wheel this year. Instead, they refined the formula. They focused on subtle upgrades to ride comfort, cabin insulation, and efficiency that make the Model Y feel more polished and grown up than ever. If you drove an early Model Y and hated the stiff suspension or the road noise, you need to drive the new one. It is a different car. The big headline for 2026 is Tesla's new standard trim, part of a strategic pricing shift that makes the Model Y more accessible. It starts at just $42,990, offering roughly 260 miles of range from a smaller battery pack. The long-range model, the one most people buy, delivers about 330 miles for $49,990. And the performance trim still leads the pack, blasting from 0 to 60 in just 3.5 seconds and topping out near $53,000. Charging, as always, remains Tesla's ace in the hole. While the other cars on this list are gaining access to the network via adapters, the Model Y is native. The brand's Supercharger network is still the gold standard. Fast, reliable, and expanding rapidly. You can add up to 162 miles of range in just 15 minutes. And with automatic route planning and battery preconditioning, long trips feel effortless. You just punch in the destination and the car does the math. No apps, no cards, no stress. So that wraps up the 5 best compact electric SUVs for 2026. Each one of these vehicles proves that small can still be smart, fast, and seriously fun to drive. We are living in a golden age of options. If you want the fastest charging and the best value, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is the leader. If you want reliability and a smooth transition from gas, the Toyota CHR brings that legendary badge to the EV world. If you want luxury and pure speed in a city-friendly package, the Volvo EX30 adds a dose of Scandinavian cool. If you want real-world performance and personality and a cooler in your hood, the Ford Mustang Mach-E is the one to get. And the Tesla Model Y, well, it is still the one everyone is chasing. It is the Swiss Army knife of cars, hard to beat, easy to live with. The excuses are gone. The prices are down. The chargers are everywhere. If you have been waiting for the right time to buy an electric SUV, 2026 is your year. If you found this breakdown helpful, tap that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the cars, trucks, and SUVs shaping the future of driving. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.